It's the sound of celebration, of luxury, of a new year. That cascade of tiny, elegant bubbles is what makes champagne, well, champagne. But for centuries, those same bubbles were considered a disaster. They were a sign of a faulty, ruined wine. The mind-blowing fact is that the bubbles in champagne were a complete accident, a persistent problem for winemakers that often caused their bottles to explode. So, how come a major winemaking flaw became the most celebrated feature of any drink in the world? The first part of the answer is a combination of geography and chemistry. The Champagne region of France is very far north, which means it gets cold. This caused a huge problem. Winemakers would bottle their wine in the autumn, believing the fermentation was finished. But the cold winter temperatures would just make the yeast go dormant before it had eaten all the sugar. Then, in the spring, as the cellars warmed up, the sleepy yeast would wake up and start fermenting again. This second fermentation, happening inside a sealed bottle, creates a natural byproduct, carbon dioxide gas. The gas had nowhere to go, so it dissolved into the wine, creating bubbles and immense pressure, earning the sparkling wine the nickname the Devil's Wine. The second turning point came when winemakers learned to tame the devil instead of trying to exorcise it. While French winemakers were frustrated, their biggest customers in England loved the fizzy novelty. The demand was there. A monk named Dom Perignon is famously but incorrectly credited with inventing champagne. His real genius was in helping to perfect it. He and others didn't stop the bubbles, they learned to control them. They started using stronger glass bottles made in England that could withstand the pressure and perfected the use of a cork and wire cage to keep the bubbles sealed inside. Eventually, they mastered the process, deliberately adding a precise amount of yeast and sugar to guarantee a perfect second fermentation in every single bottle. And that's how come champagne has bubbles. They aren't injected into the wine like a soda. They are the natural result of a second fermentation that happens right inside the bottle. A happy accident of a cold climate that was eventually tamed, perfected, and turned into a global icon. The next time you hear that celebratory pop, remember you're witnessing the legacy of a battle against the devil's wine. That cascade of bubbles is the sound of a beautiful mistake, a winemaking flaw so brilliantly mastered it became the worldwide symbol of joy.